Okay. Now let us understand the org structure. Do you guys remember we did discuss the org structure in the very starting about what exactly plays it? But what is an org structure? Anyone? No? Yes, no. As you remember, org structure, the physical representations of your real-time objects, right? Do you remember? See, I have a manufacturing plant. Okay, manufacturing plant. Here I create as one or element as plant. Within the organization plans, I have locations, right? Locations for raw materials, locations for finished goods, correct? Within the plants, you have the locations that we are putting it as a S logs. And here until here, it is an objects. Okay. But if you want to extend to your the solution to your EWM, yes, we define this location with the EWM. So this is a, let's say this is a complex. Okay. Right. This is a warehouse wherein you have, okay, let's say I can give like this. Are you guys following it?
Yes.
See this storage location, let's say I have a big warehouse. Okay. I have a big warehouse. Okay. I am having so this warehouse, I keep it as a WM. So extending my solution to WM, warehouse management. And within this, I have okay racks. So this rack is meant for let's say finished goods, and this rack is meant for a raw material. So these objects I am defining as a storage types. And within this raw material, I have, let's say, I have racks like this. Okay. So these racks, these, I divide this space. Okay. Because the picking objects like travels like this. Okay. So these are the define these two sections. Okay. Are you following it? So rack is been again divided into sections. So I defined it as a storage section. And finally, we have bins in this racks. Likewise. So these are basically are divided into storage bins. So this is how whatever the structure in the real world, we're going to divide or define that in system with these entities. The same way here it is. This is how the organizational pictorial view of plant. Under plant, I have SLOGs. Under SLOGs, so all these until here it is in MM objects, on elements. Now I want to extend it to your WM solution. So I am extending the solution to my WM for both the SLOGs. So within the warehouse, I have storage types. And then finally, storage sections and the bins. Okay. So you could recall, we have one picture. See, yeah, here you see. So this is the whole warehouse. Okay. This is the whole warehouse. And these are in the inside the warehouse. What do we have? What do we have inside the warehouse?
Storage locations.
No, it is a house in EWM organization. Can you mute it? So here you see, this is a warehouse. This is how a typical warehouse looks like. So now these spaces I'm defining it as a storage type. One, storage type one, storage type two, storage type three, four, five. Is also okay. So I have divided my warehouse space within between warehouse space between storage types. These many storage types I have divided, and within the storage types, so this I can put it like sections. This is section one, and this is section two. Okay, and finally, this is the part. This is the bin where we keep the pallets. This is how the org structure is defined. Okay. So now, do you have on this any questions on this? Yeah. Good. Any questions on this?
No.
Why not? No. Because see, do you understand why I have divided this different storage types? Why can't I have one?
Uh,
Okay. Good. Yes, you're right. In fact, it is not just based on the materials attributes we do take a call on dividing our storage type. We also look into its nature of a stock position, like a nature of stocking. If you notice here, these are the high racks, correct? These are high racks. See, if you notice, this picture is different from this. This is different from this. These are basically high racks, okay, where you put only full pallets. And this is representing actually the automated warehousing system. So this storage is completely automated. And here you see these are it's not here they are not keeping pallets, but they are keeping crate parts. See here there is no rack at all. You can see racks here, but here you don't have racks at all. It's no racks here. This is nature of stocking is different here. Storage, nature of storage. And this also I can divide this because the nature again here. So the here the storage nature is different. Here process relevant it is different with respect to process. Here everything I'm placing it for a final permanent I'm placing it. This one it is temporary. Why is this temporary? What is this area for?
Receipt or dispatch.
This is basically a temporary area. So again, the nature of process it is different here. Here we just temporarily keeping it. Here permanently storing the stock. So likewise, it's not just one case. There are many cases when you visit any plant or these activities happen only in the time of implementation activities. Once you have designed your org structure, then you're on it. You start working on it. You keep building the processes over it. It's not that every day you're changing it. Org structure definition is a one-time activity which has to be very carefully listen to the business requirement and then you have to do it. It can be any reasons. I'm just showing you two reasons. There are many reasons wherein you can always define the concept here for you to understand is the whole warehouse is divided into different organization elements to optimize and organize your warehouse operations. Okay. Under the warehouse, we have storage, its types. When I come back again, now you will understand. So I have plant. In the plant, I store locations. And it's not always mandatory that whatever the SLOCs you have has to be EWM managed. No, EWM managed stocks can be extended to one SLOC. Okay. Let's say I want my EWM solution to be implemented only in the raw materials. Okay, let us say it is a materials and it is finished good. So I want, or there is one more office supplies. Let's say one more echelon. So I want only a solution to be implemented. Okay, some solution to be implemented only in two echelons. I following it. I extended only to my two store location, and this will be managed with inventory management. Okay, and this is warehouse managed. So it's not necessary whatever the SLOCs you will have to do it. You don't need it. If the business says I only want it for a couple of SLOCs, yes, I'm extending the solution. Within this, I have storage types, and under that, I have sections. And finally, the bin. So this is the location where you see the stock physically. Like you mean it's like a address. It's my permanent address. Exactly, it's my home address wherein I am living in. So this is where the stock is stored. So whenever you want to find the stock, so this is how it starts. You go plant, stocks, service types, sections, and finally, so the objective of any warehouse is to optimize and select the correct bin for your business processes. That is the main objective of any warehouse solutions. So this is you understood, right? And finally, we have another organizational elements called activity. So this is very typical. Until now, we have discussed everything which are physically available, right? But this is not the physical element. This is a logical representation. So when I say logical, it means that in the real world, you don't see this. You only see it in SAP system. So why is required? This act, okay? So the activity area is basically used again to optimize your warehouse operations. Okay. So the activity areas is the main is connected with your activities. What is an activity? The activities are the standard pre-configured activities you have, like reorganization. Likewise, there are couple of pre-configured activities. So you mention in each storage type, assigning this activity area, saying what kind of activity is happening in this area. Do you know what a warehouse order is? Anybody? Warehouse order is basically work package. Okay, we will come back. The orders are the documents which are assigned to the pickers. Why do we assign those orders to pickers? Yeah, good. It's very simple. Perfect. So don't think too much. We are not running an IIT training here. Do you understand?
No, Azam.
Then why are you quiet? Okay. I'm not going to repeat this. Okay. Why warehouse orders? These we call work packages. Whenever you are assigning some activity to picker, you have to optimize your process and you give him a task which he can execute it. You understand? So let's say this whole thing, I'm showing it in one slide, but in the real world, there are very big complexes. So this area is might be very far from the person working here, the picker can be different. And these areas, let's say these areas are basically like high racks and these are low rack areas and these are bulk areas. So basically each area should have a different facility to perform the activities. Considering all this activity area plays a major role in optimizing your warehouse order. This we are going to talk, however. Do you understand what is the difference between these and these? What is it? The subdivision, okay, or logical warehouse organization element. Okay, understand. So these are all basically physically you are saying it, but these are logical. So they are being created only, you will see only in SAP. Why do we want this? To optimize our warehouse operations. There are many usages. We call determinations. There are many documents, or when you are performing any schemas, creating a work package like a warehouse order. In those times, you will understand using this activity area, you determine these warehouse orders. There is a picker who is very much used to this area, picker one, and there is a picker two. There is very much used to here. So what I do, I devise as SAP standard recommended to have each storage type to be assigned with one activity, right? Like a one-to-one activity. The person who is here, I don't want to mix up my warehouse tasks. When a delivery comes, okay, when the delivery arrives, it will be created with the warehouse task. So one line item, okay, please follow me. Let's say in line item, you know what a line item? I have 54 pieces. Gets you there, right?
Yes, Azam. Yes.
Delivery, I have line items. Okay. So in one line item, I have 52 items. In the warehouse now, I have it's just like that. And the partial low rack basically partial stock. These are full banners. So now this I consider T010, T0, T. You agree to this if I say like this? You understand that what I'm giving, dividing it, right? So now when I say full pallet, so each one pallet is 10 eaches. So now tell me how many full pallets and how many partial pallets I have. It first line item. So now I have activity area 1 and activity 2. So I am assigning each activity area. So now technically it should create two different warehouse orders, because the first guy he picks up like warehouse order 1 and warehouse order 3, which contains 5 tasks, and this contains one warehouse task. So this will go to here and this will go here. Correct? So, but the sequence, short sequence, what is a short sequence? Why do we want short sequence here?
Bin sort sequence.
Yes, but I have a short sequence within my storage styles. But now you see, I am placing my warehouse structure itself like this. My warehouse placements are like this. I always want to keep full pallets away from my partial pallets. So these two basically are separate areas. So now I want to create the orders in the same way, separate warehouse orders, so that two different guys can execute it. The system can only do this based on this activity area. It will always select the activity area and say that, okay, these stocks, full pallets go here and loose pallets go here. So based on the activity areas, it will divide your warehouse orders. This is called, you have a warehouse operations, optimizing your. Yes, sir. Sort sequence used when you're sorting your bins. So like I have a bin 1, bin 2, bin 3. The placement should happen from here. The first bin should always propose in 03, not in 01. Likewise. This is about the activity areas. This is very important. Within the activity area, we also have activities. What different activities do we perform here? For put away, it behaves differently. For picking it, first activity area is the first criteria to segregate your warehouse. So now, my strategy sort sequences is I call as no away strategies. So the strategy is defined in such a way the full pallets are always going to this full racks. Yes. So what happens? It will first create 5 tasks plus 1 task. So here it will, based on your sort sequences or put away strategies, define this will go to what T010 and this will go to T0T0. This is how it is defined based on your put away strategy. And then followed by, you have to create a warehouse orders so that you will assign to your orders to pickers. So here you use this activity areas to segregate warehouse order 1, which has 5 tasks, and warehouse order 2, there is 1 task. This is how the process flow happens. First, it creates based on your sort sequence, it will decide where it has to go first. And accordingly, based on your activity area, it will divide into multiple areas so that individual picker can execute these parts, these pallets or these tasks. Clear? Yes. As SAP recommends, each it has to be 1-to-1, but it is possible to have one activity area for multiple storage types also. But SAP always recommends to 1-to-1. It's not just one criteria, they are being utilized. So in many business contexts, so you want to optimize your warehouse operations. Okay, in that business context, this is one example I gave. But in fact, there are many areas you can use it. As a general, you can consider that activity areas are basically created or used to optimize your warehouse operation. So this is also one kind of a warehouse operation which you are optimizing according. as per your requirement. Okay.
Oh,
So,
7.
so in the receiving means in the inbound process, right?
Right,
You
sir.
have purchase order, you have IBD, and there's various tasks created, right? So
Right, sir.
we discussed yesterday that as soon as you IBD is created, you have a staging area, correct? Staging is defined T910. So this is a receive area. So you don't need put away strategies or activity areas basically because this is however determined during IPD. So now the stock is here. So you do a physical checks and finally after quality of whatever you want to transfer to your main warehouse. So for that you create warehouse steps. So this whole picture you can fit in here. Clear?
Okay.
If I say activity areas are defined for a final bills. So now the stock has to be transported to here. Now as I say, I have 5 full pallets and 1 partial pallets. So these stocks, I want to place it. But how my warehouse manager requested, my warehouse manager is saying that 5 pallets will go to T010 and 1 pallet will go to T020. So now system should create 2 different work packages or orders. This is what the business requirement is. So now I'm using different components in my SAP EWM to run this process, to replicate the same process in my EWM. For that, I'm using one of the component called put away strategy and another component is as an activity area. So both I'm utilizing and configuring the system so that the same business concept is replicated here. So the whole this mechanism will fit in this area. So after all system calculating and doing this, finally all these calculations happens, the picker gets to warehouse order. Accordingly, he will execute and place the stock here. You asked me where this process can fit in my inbound process. This is where it
Right.
is. This is where all happens at this stage. In the background, everything happens in the background. And finally, the outcome is this warehouse orders. So how the business requirement is I need 2 warehouse orders which are different because the storage types are located differently, different 2 locations. So that's why my requirement is to have 2 different warehouses. So how I'm going to achieve this? I'm using activity area to achieve this. So the business doesn't need to explain what activity area. It is for a technical perspective. That's why, as I said, a logical representation. So I utilize this activity area. Accordingly, it's a part of my organization structure. I define. So I listen to the business requirements. Accordingly, I define as many activity areas and I utilize this to have this level process to fit in my business. Okay. So exactly, this is a mezzanine area. So the mezzanine area is here. So you have one here, and this is a floor. Okay, ground floor. So now the approach of placing the stock is different here. Both requires a different facility, different infrastructure, different resources. If I create a single package and assign to this guy, his resource cannot accommodate my stock to be placed in mezzanine. What I'm doing in order to achieve this, I define as one storage type and define this as one storage type. And to each storage type, I assign activity area to each one. And then when the warehouse order is created, it is created one for this guy and one for this guy. Okay. That's how you use this activity. Clear?
Okay.
So now let us move ahead. Let us understand this storage type roles. This also part of org structures. What are the storage type roles? So if you go back into the again this picture, see again, if I why have I divided different There's like, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you tell me what is the difference between 5 and 4? Okay, 5 and 4.
The ground structure.
Yes. No, I asked 5 and 4. If we say these are the final bits, these are the temporary bits. Correct? Can you tell me what is happening here in number 6? So it is going here and finally placing it here, right? In number 1. So agree if I call it as temporary bins. It's temporary, right? Because you are just temporarily holding stock for some time and then your objective is to load the conveyors here. This area is not meant for a permanent storage. It is just a temporary area where you bring the stock here to load the conveyors. Correct. Now, then what is the difference between this temporary and this temporary? The difference is this is different by nature. This is a staging areas where you have unloaded the stock. This is a temporary area you are using to communicate with your automated storages. By nature of process, they are, even though they are temporary areas, but by process wise, it has its own understanding, our own business processes. We are staging it as unloading areas. This is a communicating to your final bins. The human intervention is not possible. Okay. So these different for the system to understand, even though I have a storage type, but for the system to understand what exactly is storage, what kind of storage type is. This we will call it as a storage roles. Here you see we have standard storage. Standard storages are basically we have many different storage type roles. Basically, we have standard storages wherein you have final bins and you have identification points, picking points. They are basically used to access your automated warehouses. Please follow this, and I'm going to back again to the picture to name the storage types. Remember this. Can you make note down also? It's very useful for you notes. Okay. Picking points, and sometimes I can even define picking point and identification point as one area also. So you understand, right? What is an identification point?
No, sir. Could you please come again?
Can you read this? What is it?
That
actually?
point for automotive.
So it means that this area is an access point for my automated warehouse. So I'm loading it here. I can create one storage type to have full transparency, full visibility of my stock. I can track my stock exactly where it is available. So if the business asks to name the storage type, you are going to define the storage type with the storage type role identification point. This is an access point. This is an integration point to communicate to your automated house. Sometimes, it's ask me, it is not, don't just see. This is also an interim area. You directly, on a first step, you take it to the lift, and from the lift, you take it to your final. This is also one of the restricted layout restrictions. I can call it as whichever you find a layout restriction. When I say layout restriction, what does it mean? I cannot directly access here. See, I directly place the stock here.
Directly
But
access by a
here-
physical or by a
physically, see, if I want to reach here, how can I reach? I have option. This is because it's in mezzanine. So I first have to take it to the lift. And again, from the lift, I have to take it. So this is a restriction now for me. So because this is how my warehouse is structured. And this way, automated warehouse. So one cannot go and place this pallet directly because this is not accessible. It is accessed only by using the conveyor belts. So this is a restriction again. But here it's fine. You can directly pick and place it here. This is not restricted. So whichever considered to be layout restricted, you can always create as an access point, or you can say identification point. The same way you have picking point. So when it comes to picking context, you call it as picking point, but it is the same meaning. And identification point, you name it as identification in put away, and for picking, you name it as picking point. Sometimes you can have both also. And we had staging area group. Staging area group is where the staging activity. So basically, staging area group is it's a name of a staging storage type, but in a staging concept. So staging area is where you are unloading the stock. So you are naming it every time. And we have work centers. Like sometimes you want to perform some activities before messing into your final work. So you receive in staging area, and then you're taking it to some relabeling area wherein you are labeling pallets. So that I will some activity is happening here. So that's I create a storage type as a work center. And we have doors connecting trucks and the warehouses. So you whichever the space which you connected from the truck to your staging areas, okay, to your warehouse, those areas are specifically called as door. So you can always define a storage type with the name door also. Yard area is a managing trucks outside the warehouse. So whichever the space which is outside your warehouse and you are managing even the stocks also, you can consider that a yard. And we have automatic storage and retrievals. So basically, there is a possibility in your warehouse to have some automated storage areas, and you can define it as automatic storages because you have something called material flow systems. So whenever physically you are doing transactions, that communication has to happen in SAP to execute the warehouse task. Did you understood or not?
So the last one.
The last one is basically okay. I'll tell you something. I have SAP system, the automated warehouse. See, automated warehouses, they run. See, for a physical, what is happening here? You give instruction to some system here, which in fact this gives these instructions to these racks. So then there are like motion happen, right? This pallet is picked up. The robotics, I can call it robotics. What happens? How a robotics works? Robotics basically this is automated warehouses or robotic warehouses systems. Like you give instructions to them, and then they move this pallet and place it in wherever you want, picking area, or you put an activity. So this pallet has to be moved in a place. So this instructions is given by this system. So there is some different system basically. We call it as PLCs, programmable logical controllers. PLCs is another system actually. So to communicate this, you use one concept in SAP called MFS, Material Flow System. So for material flow system to work, you want to have a S type to be defined with a automated storage type rule. Only then system understand that this is basically is a storage type which is automated, which is robotic warehouse, robotic storage type. So whenever instructions are sent here, it has to communicate using MFS. So whenever these kinds of a landscape, you define storage type with automatic storage. Obviously, you don't need it to have us because there are standard APIs we gone. SAP has provided all those. If it is standard process, you don't need anybody. You need an MFS consultant to configure or integrate with your SAP system. Okay. So let me go back. So what all do we have? And we have standard, we have staging area group, We have staging, right? Staging area group. We have ID points, pick points, right? And we have work centers. We have what else we have? And we have yard, right? We have automatic storage. Now, tell me, what is this? A keep like 5, 6, 7. Consider this as a repacking storage style. Okay, I mentioned as 8. Tell me that which is a standard storage. Yes, which racks? Can you number it? Hmm? Yeah, 1, 2. 3 I can write. 3 I can keep it, right? It's a standard storage where you are permanently placing it. And storage area group 1, 2, 3 now. So now storage staging area group. So which one here?
5.
Yeah, 4. Why 5? What is 5? Yes. Current point. Right. So this is a work center, right? Which is here. And also we have 7 also, if I name it. 5 and 7, right? So identification points or pick points can be something which has layered restriction, which cannot be directly accessed by anybody. Like you cannot directly access this. You have some layered restriction here. For this is mezzanine because I always have to go by lift and followed by second activity. Here I have automated warehouse, so I can only load it in the conveyor because I cannot directly place it here. So all these layout restrictions I create it as ID point. And next, work center. Which one is a work center here?
8.
Yeah, 8. Let me finish this and slash each other. Another one. Now the doors. Where are the doors here? Okay, I can name this area. This is 9. So where are the doors here? 9. Right. 9. And the yards is this part. I name it as 10. And this automated warehouse. Which one is it? 6. 6. Yeah. So now you understand, right? I believe you are all aligned about the org structure and its storage type roles. Can I say that? Who is this? Rohit? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, whenever you see these kinds of a representation, no, you consider it as an automated warehouse because automated warehouse, that's how it looks like in the real world. It's all built with some shells on racks. Let me show you in the automated warehouse. Here's the robotics. Okay. And it is also pallet carriers. All these are like automated warehouse units. That directly, nobody can access here. You see, the conveyors are coming here. It's following the guided train, and the stock is being placed here. So these conveyors also will get instruction basically. Only then they are moving the pallets. Some pallet, one pallet has to be a specific pallet has to go in here. And some pallets has to go in. This is basically instructions are sent to this conveyor belt. The automated storage systems. There are different softwares. They are famously called as PLCs. So they send instructions to this system, these conveyors, and that PLCs, they are integrated with SAP because everything has to be recorded in SAP end of the day because the warehouse guys or the employees, they only access warehouse system, not all these PLCs. So in order to communicate the SAP back home, you need MFS technologies in SAP. It's an inbuilt solution SAP has provided. Okay. You understand? Now, Now we understand this. Yeah, we also have something here. We missed this part. Work center in staging area group. Typically, it is a combination of two storage type roles. One is work center and another is a staging area. Right? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, why? Let me go back. Sometimes, okay, see, this can be a typical work center with staging area because let us say, example, I don't have enough space to define specifically for repacking or any packing activities. No, I may not have the space. Or in my process itself, I relabel it at the time as soon as I receive the stock. I have a physical check and immediately I trigger a GR and labels are printed and that labels are immediately placed at the staging area and then I pick it. So it means that the work center activity is happening at the time of staging itself. You don't need to define it, but you still have to capture that workload of your picker. So instead of having two different storage types, I can in fact define it as one. Work center as staging area group. I can define as one also because of any reasons. I'll just give you a couple of examples. There is also something called production supply chain. Have you heard this? What is this PSA? Basically, also interim area which are connected to your production shop floors. Right. So I have a panel here and I have a production operations happening. So from here, I keep the stock here. So this is a PSA. So from here, the operations are happening. So the operation. So he picks up these components here and he performs the actions likewise. So this area is basically your PSA. So it's a warehouse team responsibility to replenish the stock in here based on different methods which we gonna discuss it later. This is also one of a storage type you have to define when you integrate with your production supply area, with your production processes. Okay. So here we don't have it, but yes, this is the case. This is about org structure and storage type roles. So do you have any questions on this? In Viva, you can have as many as per your business requirements. Yeah.
I can
See, let's say, see, this is a production shop floor, and you are having painting, and here you have hardening, and you have fastening. Okay. Likewise, too many different operations I have 1, 2, 3. So I can always have because these components are different from these components. So I can have as many pieces. Yeah. Yes, I can have it. I can have it because there is something called control cycle, and what you call forward the supply production PSA master data. Okay, there are some master data. So accordingly, control cycle is basically control cycle. Here you always have a combination of material plus PS. Each PSA you define the same material is replenished for different reasons. Okay. All right. Oh, let's move about process types. What are these process types? So the type is basically yes. Go ahead. To record your processes into SAP. So we have moment types. So in EWM we call it as process. So various process types are basically associated with categories. Whenever you create any new various process type, you will have to assign with your activity. Can you recall this word? Business context we use.
activity area.
Right, very good. Activity areas and warehouse process, they are both assigned or linked with this activity. So activity can be put away, picking, replenishment, physical. Within this activity area, use what are different activities performed. Sometimes you don't need physical inventories. While doing a physical inventory exercise, you will clear your staging areas. You close all your open POs, open Ds, orders. This is how you do it. In that case, I don't want to see any stock in my staging area. For example, I can create one activity area here. I say that physical inventory activity is not performed here. It means that going forward, it will not create any document even if you want it, because that activity is restricted in this area. In activity area, you assign what activities to perform, and also when you are creating any new warehouse process type, you associate with this activity saying what type of warehouse process type it is. I can create as many warehouse process type. So each process type should tell the system for what purpose, for what business context you are creating. The system can only understand by using warehouse process categories. Okay. So warehouse process categories are basically activities in activity. Okay. So when I say category, what does it mean? It means they are predefined. You cannot create new. So you have to use whatever is available. So they are defined. So they are used for put away, picking, and internal movements also. Okay. So let us go back into the system and try to understand this. One process type will be used, like, for put away we are using, so it is only a put away warehouse process. The same process type cannot be used for anything, for picking away. It is only one. It is you're telling the system what is this movement you are trying to do. See, I receive the goods. Now I want to record this in the system now. So how I'm going to do it? I'm going to do it by warehouse process type. I say that I'm going receiving, like I'm receiving. So the system will understand only by its warehouse process type. So in the process type you mentioned, it is a put away. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go into the system now. Okay. So we go to org structure, create quickly.
This is EWM.
This is Egypt. It's a specific, typically EWM concept. So we are into it now. To EWM conception. So now what I'm doing, I'm building a org structure. Here you see in the master data, you have, as part of my R integration, I defined this assign warehouses to my default party to a title supply chain unit. This I did, and warehouse number control. Okay, this it's we got it right. Here you see define storage type. So I'm going to create storage types. Yeah, good, Rohit. See, you always, the system always, SAP always recommends to copy from your standard objects. This is practice, best practice. SAP, when you're buying SAP, you will get with a model company. Okay. So you identify the model company and start creating your objects by copying that model company. I understand that. But for S4, we have 1710. 1710, it's a best practice system. So when you like, there are different approaches to implement. You have rapid solution. There are no much deviation in your business processes with your best practice. So you buy best practice system and you start configuring it immediately by copying it. So when you copy it, almost all the processes are copied automatically. You just extend a small correction and you are ready to run your process. So likewise, you have to identify your model company and then copy and create it. So let's say, for example, in my case, I have my model company as AZ06 because I have, let's say, I have configured couple of things. So I understand this is clean. But usually you in your systems, you will always see this 001. You can always copy. So let's say I'm copying it from. So I'm creating a storage type. So I create T03. So now I have to say to the system what space am I defining here. But I'm defining a final one, so I keep it as standard storage. All options available. Keep it as a standard storage. See, at the storage type level, there are many controlling factors. Okay, there are many controlling factors. Call it and pass this control your business process. Okay, like you get some story from business. I say that okay, this I wanted. So you're going to see different combinations in your storage step control parameters, then you achieve this requirement. So how do you do this? This is based on your expertise and based on your practice, you will understand how each parameter is impacting your business process. Okay, you change something, you put something here, immediately that will impact your business process. This you can only learn when you practicing and implementing different solutions into your system. Only then you will understand each parameter. So for a training purpose, I'm not taking each parameter. It's based on fear, the time, because you don't remember, even you don't understand. So if you keep digging and discussing on each thing, we will be lost. In fact, everyone will be lost. So I'm not taking on every parameter, but whichever are important or necessary, I'll take it. Okay. So here you see, we know this is a storage type role. So I gave standard storage. And here you see the HU requirement. So it is saying X, Y. So I say they can keep, if I say HU allowed, but not required. But I'm creating for my high rack storages. It means that I always keep a full balance. So I always want a full balance required here. Okay. And like it means I'm activating management. Right? These parts are basically used for a fixed bin storage steps, which will come again. So it means that whenever you place the stock, you want a confirmation in the system. The process happens basically in two steps, right? You have PO, you have IVD, and you have warehouse task. So this is warehouse task creation. And what do you do? Here, staging. You see, here what happens? Same to vendor. Here you are doing staging and creation assigned to. And now this becomes palette physically, and here place the placement in bill. So this is how it happened. So what this checkbox is saying that don't mix up this as one. Let it have as two steps. Let first create task and then confirm it. So only then you confirm it, you will see the stock in system. Until then, no. Okay. And this storage control put away completion, it means that in the standard storages, since these are my final wins, so I'm not taking it forward anywhere, right? I'm permanently placing the stock here. But in case of my interim areas, okay, these are the staging areas, and these are the final, and the truck come here. It is not permanently placed here. It is first taken here and followed by here. And here, these are final wins. But this is interim areas. It means that when you check this box, the system understands that there is no further process. It is complete. Put away is complete. But in here, it is not complete. Okay, so because I'm creating a standard storage, so I'm doing that. Okay. Likewise, there are many things. I don't want to take you to each part, but I keep on visiting this screen over the period of our sessions. Many times we'll come back on this. Don't worry on it. Okay. I believe we cover almost 60% of all parameter. I would like to take you to business processes, then I'll come back to that. You will remember. Okay. So for now, I'm just saying this. Yeah, put away combination is you are completing your put away activity. Let's say I'm creating one interim area. I'm creating one interim area. I'll name it as 9. Let me give a different name. A910. Providing good system. Here you see the storage type role is A. It means that system understand that this is basically a staging area. So that's why it is D. You notice here there is not checked box. The box is not checked. It means that still system expects processes here. System is expecting that you are picking the stock further processes. But in my final page, when I place the stock, there ends the stock. So it one staging area when nomenclature is IRAC. Now I have created one storage type. Now I'm going to divide my storage type into sections. Okay, I divide my rack into two sections. I say, okay, which rack? The high rack. High rack is A010 into fast moving section, and another one is a low moving section. So now I have warehouse created, I have storage type created, I have sections created. And next is what? Pins. Right. So here and also, okay, here I can give a structure for my pins. Let's say I'm copying this. Here you see what is the where is it 08 and see, try to understand here. This is your structure. The name, whatever name you are giving to your bin, you want to define in the system so that if you have thousands of bins to be created, you don't have to create manually. You can always have a certain nomenclature defined. That nomenclature, you can define it here in the template. Each notation has each representation here has a meaning. Here C means constant. N is numerical. Okay. What it is saying, constant means it will not change. So this will not change. And numerical it is there. And this is aisle and stacks. Okay. And I can also keep it for my levels also. Okay. Levels. So I name it here 0, dash, 0. I have 3 levels. So 0, 3. And what is the increment should it happen? Are you following it? So this is the bin name I'll be given. This is aisle, this is stack, and these are the levels. I don't want these many stacks. I keep it as 5 stacks. Okay. So now in my rack, these many bins I'm going to create it. And here you see where I'm creating this. It's actually in my storage type A010. And the section is fast moving section. And bin types are basically I don't have any bin type. They're saying stay starting value and template do not match. The template. You can have it. You can have it as a bin divisions. Okay, let me create one bin type. Okay, what are the bin types? Bin types are grouping of your bins with the same attributes. Guys, are you there or what is it? Are you following it? Yes, sir. See, let's say, I have bin types in racks. Racks, let's say this one. See, do you see here all the, what is this area called?
Storage bin.
Yes, bins, right? You see, all the bins are of same sizes right here. Correct?
Yeah.
So what you're doing, you're grouping all these attributes and put it under one storage bin type. But what if this bin is the height of a bin is less here? Let's say ground floors are 1 meter and the floor on a fourth level height is this is 2 meter or this is 1 meter. The level, the height is different. So it means that this bin is different from this. Correct. What I'm going to do in the system, I group together the same into one bin type and the another one is the another bin type. I have LBH1. Basically, it says 2 by 2. This is the attributes. Two length 2 meters, height 2 meters, and this one is 1 meter. So what happens? What is happening? I'm defining different attributes of the bins to my bin type. So how this is useful? See, when you receive a handling unit of 2 meter height, I cannot place into the bins of 1 meter, right? I want to have a determination correctly. That's why I segregate it. When I'm defining the nomenclature, while defining the structure, I that this bins, the bins I'm creating are basically belongs to this type. I'm saying, or all in the fast moving sections, all the bins are of 1 meter height. You can have it. Right now, I keep this. Okay, 0, 5. So now I'm saving this. So in the same storage type, I have a different height. What I can have a different bin types. Now you see, I change this name. I keep it as 0, 6. What? Yes, 6. Okay. So all these bins are of height 2 meters. I keep like this. Okay. So now I have two sections with the different sizes of bins. Two into two. So what I'm doing, I divide this into section 2 and section 1. That's what I did. Okay. So now I'm going to create the activity. So what I'm going to do, okay, staging areas here. So I can create a staging. So I did create one storage type. So now you have to define the staging area, what the staging area is meant for. It is basically it's a put away staging, right? It is staging area, I know, but what is this? Is it meant for a GR or a GI? So I'm going to define. So what was the staging area I created? 0, A916. Right? A910 and staging section. Staging area. So I didn't define the section here. So I go back and I define one section within my staging area. Can we what? Can we you can have. So what I'm doing, I've created a total section here. Yes, so A and storage type is what A910 as a total section. I create as one section now. Okay. So this section I'm defining in my staging area. I can always have one. I don't need to have multiple. Is a staging area is A910 and this is made for a GR. Okay, this is the GR staging area. So that's now the system understands. So I have defined stagings, doors and all. We will see when it is needed, doors and work centers. Now go directly to activity area. So here you see define activity area. So these are all already defined. You have standard activities defined for your activity area. You don't need to create new. If this is something different, yes, you can create it. For now, I have different activity areas defined. Right? Each activity area is defined with a various process category. So this is how it is linked. Activities are and the various process types are linked with the various process categories. Okay. So I create a new activity area, define new activity. So I want to create a new activity area for my newly created storage type. ASN08 A910. I keep them the same name. I don't want activity area for my staging area. It's fine. So I only created for my final. Okay. So now what you're doing? Assign storage bins your activity area. So you want to assign what bins are coming under this activity. So basically it is my AZ08 activity area is A010 and I'm having one-to-one storage stage. So I assign only one storage stage. Are you guys following it? Are you lost? See, that's why I spend more time on these presentations for you to understand. You need to understand the business context or business concepts for going into this system. That's why I spend so much of time. See, configuration, I can give you a document that you can get it from the Google. You just go and do whatever, but you should know what is the purpose of it, right? So just recall what I have explained until now in today's session itself. So I'm giving one-to-one relation here for my activity areas. Okay. And now there is something called sort sequence for your activity. See, this is a bit useful here. As I said, activity areas are basically used to optimize your warehouse operations and it is also used for warehouse order creations, right? Now you see, this is simple English, okay? Read this. What I'm doing, see, whatever is the records, it's all about understanding in the normal English. I say that for my activity area A010, and what activity for put away activity in the storage type A01. I'm defining a sort sequence. This sort sequence is used when I say you remember in my previous example, I have 5 tasks, correct? And now how these tasks are to be shown. 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 line items, correct? So each task is in every warehouse task, you will have a bins. Correct? So I have, let's say this is my rack. And now I have bins. Now, how do I want to start placing my bins? Tell me. How do I have to start from here? Business tells me, correct? Business tells me if now I want to have I want to start my put away from top to bottom. So the first task should be shown here like this. The bins off. Can you mute it? Can you guys mute it? I'm getting a lot of noise. So this sorting, only then he start executing one by one. So sorting basically here you're defining it. Accordingly, in ascending order or a descending order. So in my case example, the bin, the stacks or the sort stacking has to be in descending order. So I can keep it like descending. So whatever the sort sequence you put it, and please understand this is specific to your activity. So put away always happens like this, but picking will always happens like this from 1 to 6. It means that put away should be in ascending order. While creation of a warehouse order, the sorting is like this. In descending order, stacks, ascending, the levels, all these in fact are like you can define it. Put away, I keep it as descending. Picking, if I want to define it for my picking activity, I want to keep it like ascending. So accordingly, system will have the sorting of your bins while creating a warehouse order. So once you've done this sort sequencing, you will have to run this. Okay. So I came back into easy access. Now I'm going to create a bins for my storage types. I'm creating a master data. I'm creating a storage bin. So you can always have a mass creation of storage bin. So I go back. You see, this is one. A010, 001, and BH1. Create bins. It has created 75 bins in section 001 and one more, and again I'm creating the 15 bins in section 2. Okay, so 75 are on 1:1, one height of 1 centimeter height, and 15 are of 2 centimeter height. Now I want to define a sort sequence, right? Whatever the sort sequence I separated in customizing, I will have to run it here. If you see here, activity area A010 per run the sort. Every time, whenever you create, you see here, did you notice here the descending order it has come? So all the time, the first task will be like based on your descending. This is how the sorting sheet. Okay, picking. If I run for picking, it will be in ascending order. Okay. Now what I've done, I've defined storage type, sections, bins, activity areas, and what else? Bin structures. All I have done now. So let us go and we will complete this in some time. Let us go back and create one storage warehouse process type. It's actually we do it by resource management. We can see like
Okay.
only particular resources. We can see that. So here, like I'm going to create one new process type. Let's copy this and warehouse process type AZ08, and let's create a new one with the A01. Here you see I'm defining a put category as tab, and activities I'm assigning to this. So this warehouse type is only meant for put activity. So here I'm changing the staging area. I'll say that the one which I created one. I'm creating one bin for my staging area. You can always go by mass creation here, or you can always create by one. So I'm going to create one, and I'll send one already there. Here, it is this bin is under my A910, and the section is total section. So I'm putting this into my warehouse master. Here I'm keeping it, and now you see I save this. So whenever I do my inbound process, this process step has to be determined. So what I have to do, I have to go determine warehouse process step. So I'm determining at my document type level. So what was my document? It is IN. So I change it here. Yeah, A01 and save it. Now I go back quickly. I'll create one purchase order. Let us see. Has it take our specific process types?
Yeah. No.
Right? So what is inbound delivery? How it is getting determined? Because this storage location is in WM manage, and this WM is in EWM manage. So now as soon as I save, this should have replicated. You should have replicated in EWM.
So basically,
Exactly.
Right.
So right. So I'm going to access my inbound with it. I can always access with my any delivery number. With any delivery number, I can find my EWM inbound. You can see now it's created. If I open it, I'll see what is. You see my warehouse process type is selected and my GR bin is selected. So now what happens? The next step is either you do a GR or you can go by variance task. Okay. So now whatever the org structure we have defined, this we are going to configure it in our strategy. Okay. So we will see this part in the next sessions. So before moving ahead to our strategies, we discuss about the master data. So we discuss various product masters and business partners. So tomorrow we will discuss pack specs. Okay. So I will stop it here for now.
Tomorrow, next.
Tomorrow, next it is Saturday.
Okay.
It's how is it?